Please wave your grades at the brave who fight for you. If you don't gain, they fight in vain. Show them what you can do. Show them what you can do. Please show them what you can do. I said, in this parade, please wave your grades at the brave who fight for you. If you don't gain, they fight in vain. Show them what you can do. Show them what. On a very special Saturday, welcome once again to Wave Your Grades on KUAW.org. Wave Your Grades is a program that asks American students to strive for excellence in honor of our troops, featuring stellar students and honorable veterans, both motivating each other. On today's program, we will be featuring some very, very special guests learning from each other. My name is Carl Boyd. I am your civilian host, educator, and I get the opportunity on Saturdays from 1 until 2 p.m. to host Wave Your Grades. For those who are with us for the first time, my suggestion is that while, particularly next week, which is Veterans Weekend, there are those who want to wave the flag, I ask our students to wave your grades, wave your community service, wave your leadership, wave your excellence, wave your seriousness about being an excellent American student. So that's what it's all about. That's my introduction for today's program. And in the greater Kansas City area, Parkville, Missouri in particular, there are some exciting things happening around the Banneker School Foundation and historic site, Parkville, Missouri. And after Lucille Douglas tells us all about that, Valencia Broadus, who comes to us with outstanding young people every first Saturday of the month, will introduce her special guests who might have questions for Mrs. Douglas and will certainly have information that Mrs. Douglas and the rest of us will be interested in. So now, given that intro, I will ask Louis George Walker to start us off by letting everyone know how this program can be accessed. And Mr. Walker, are you still with us or working on something technical? And I am seeing you almost in your studio. And I was saying I would like to start the program this time rather than wait until an intermission, letting everyone know how they can access them. Not at all. Go ahead. Thank you so very much, Louis George Walker. And now we would like to welcome to the program Mrs. Lucille H. Douglas and Mrs. Douglas with the Banneker School Foundation, historic site, Parkville, Missouri. Please introduce yourself better than I and tell us what's going on Saturday, November 5th.
Good afternoon, and thank you for the pleasure of sharing what to me is an exciting time for our foundation and historic site in Parkville, Missouri. For those of you who are not familiar with the Banneker School, it is one of two remaining buildings west of the Mississippi that were originally built to educate the children of freed and enslaved people. This school was one of three schools built in post-Civil War to educate children. And for those of you who don't know, all of the things regarding our lives had to be structured and put in place by state legislative action. And because it was state law that we were not to be educated or learn to read and write with severe penalties unto death. So that's why education for all of us is so important and still has high regard. But we do have to teach that. So coming this time next week, I will be engaged in a fundraising effort that will help us to finish restoring this building. The restoration project began in 1985 when my mother, with the help of Professor Jimmy Johnson, whose aunt taught at this original Banneker School building, he informed her that what we thought was Miss Emma's house was the original Banneker School.
Wow.
That was built for those ancestors in Platte County. And it was not just a neighborhood school. Maybe I better say it that way, but it was the school that drew all of the farm families around to bring their children for an education. And I won't get off into the sociology of the freed enslaved people at that time, but it's much different than education today.
Now, let us find out how we can support what you are doing and contact those who are responsible for what's coming up November 12th.
Oh, next Saturday, we're going to be engaged with a presentation of Parkville history, which is deeply rooted in what most people are not aware of as post Lewis and Clark, the Louisiana Purchase, as well as up to date to the opening of the new Kansas City Airport. That will be at Park Place is the event space that we will have our event. It is 160 English Landing Drive in Parkville, Missouri. And we will have Banneker Foundation signs in green, red, and black to lead you to the space if you're not familiar with Parkville, because I'm afraid it's still one or two turns and you're probably out of town. And so it will be easy to get directed to our space. Dr. Timothy Westcott will be bringing us Parkville history from 11 to 1 o'clock. It is a fundraiser and we're asking for a $65 donation. You can access this event and other information about the Banneker School Foundation and Historic Site on our website. And it is just that, Banneker School, Parkville, Missouri.org.
Outstanding. We appreciate that so much. Now, will you be able to stay with us a while and answer questions if there are questions?
Oh, I can't wait to hear from the young people.
That is so good. We appreciate that so much. The red, the black, and the green, the blood, the people, and the land.
And the land. Oh, yeah.
Yes, absolutely. We appreciate you so much. We are so looking forward to the remainder of the conversation. Valencia, before I do that, please indulge me for just a moment. I was remiss at the opening of the program that I did not mention, unfortunately, the passing of Calvin Wainwright.
Oh, yes.
And Calvin and Cassandra Wainwright are pillars of the community. Calvin was noted for his work with Lynx, as you know, but also coaching young people, an educator, and just a pillar of the community. So we certainly, from my household, extend our deepest condolences. And if there's anyone on this line during this program who wants to do likewise, please feel free to do so. At this time, Louis George Walker was humble enough to admit that there were some technical difficulties at the beginning of the program. So those of us who are missing, seeing the face of Valencia Broaddus, co-host every first Saturday morning, you can be assured that she is with us on the phone. And for her to know who she is introducing, she needs to hear their names, because we'll only be able to hear her on the phone. She will only be able to hear us. She cannot see everyone. So
guess what, Mr. Boyd?
You can.
Oh no, I went on Facebook.
Oh, okay.
So you know who's here.
So what I did, I'm like, there's got to be a way, because how did everybody else see? So I actually went to my computer. I just went on Facebook, so I can see you guys. Anyways, I can see who's there. And so, hello, Mrs. Lucille. First of all, definitely, Ms. Douglas. It's a pleasure to meet you. And I do have some questions, about the foundation and then all that. But I would love to introduce some of our young people and our adults who have been with the Smart Career Club just for so long. And we have someone, Deacon Moore is in the waiting room waiting, Mr. Walker. And we may have two people in the waiting room waiting.
Okay.
Can you hear me, Mr. Boyd? Okay.
Now, let me tell you this real quickly. I can hear you very well. Now, you and I, Valencia, know that every once in a while, Mr. Walker has double and triple duty with the products and all those things. So he may or may not hear us, but we will keep appealing to him to let people in, because we know how that is when it says host will let you in. But please go ahead.
Gotcha. Just want you to know that. They just texted me. That's what I'm saying. Okay. So we, with the Smart Career Club, I can see that we have Mr. Jeffrey Murphy, Jr. on with us. We have Ms. Paris Holly. We have Mr. Brian Ross, and we have Mrs. Jamanda Dixon on with us. And the person on the phone, I think, is me. And so,
now, did you say Oshun J?
Yes, that's Ms. Jamanda Dixon. And so,
oh, okay.
Yes, and so that's what I can see. And that was good, because otherwise, you wouldn't have known who that was, for sure. Right. So what I would love for everyone to do, if you can, is to turn your pictures on so people can see you, if it fits you right now. Only so that the Kansas City community can see you. And I know I'm not there to show my face, but you should show yours anyway, because remember, we're always here promoting you guys and what you do. Hello, beautiful Jamanda. Hello, awesome Jeffrey. And hello. And I know Mr. Boyd said, next slide. You guys are wonderful. So
Yeah.
what I wanted to, the big question I have for the Banneker School, hello there, Mr. Ross. How are you? How are you? The big question I have for the Banneker School Foundation, and I know, I'll go back later and we'll look a little, is what types of education activities are they doing right now that, and for which age, who, and, volunteers, how do we, what do you do, but then also how can people help? Besides donations, just kind of curious.
Awesome. I
That's Mrs.
I
Phil.
needed to
Yeah.
unmute myself. Okay. Yes. We have sponsored and are able to custom activities and events, mostly centered around viewing the school, or being able to for visitors to be on the property of the school, and just depending on what educators are wanting. We did host in the past. We hosted 100 or so young students from Park Hill South Leadership Program, and they visited the school site, as well as participating in an activity to design that was designed for them to experience separate was not equal, which their principal, Dr. Longnecker, had devised. It was during the celebration or the anniversary of Brown versus the School Board of Topeka. And they walked what we used to have, how we got our milk. We walked from the second Banneker School up to the White High School in order to get our milk for the day.
Wow.
Rain, shine, sleet, snow, just like the mailman.
My Lord.
Got it.
And so that's just an example of what we can collaborate on teaching. We are working with Orly McKenzie, Watkins McKenzie, with Life 360 to formulate programs through the Kansas City Museum on teaching young people to search their ancestry, to really connect with history, because for most of us that is missing. And if at any time someone would like to have just the history part of the Banneker School Foundation and historic site, where we make presentations at all times. So we're available to collaborate for teaching.
No, that's excellent. Thank you. And I just was curious because, with our young leaders, a big part of our Smart Career Club, we're here to help young leaders to catch their dreams and make them grow. And so we do that a lot through, like, whether it's financial literacy, tutoring, ACT prep, a lot of career coaching. And so, but academics, that is the focus for, we do everything else, but within, like you said, that reading, writing, the teaching, what we were blocked from doing before. So that's the reason I wanted to kind of just know a little bit more about what we could do. So definitely, I would love to talk with you more about some of those things. And don't know, we have 3 college students, and then we have one of our awesome adult advisors who is a business owner. And so I don't know if they have any questions at this time, but if you guys do, before I'll dive into something else. So we'll kind of go back and forth because it all is education, which is great. But I didn't know if you all had any questions for Ms. Douglas before we just jump over for a moment.
And I'm sorry. Go ahead, please.
Hit us up on our website, BannekerSchoolParkHillMissouri.org.
Excellent, excellent.
And I was just going to say, Sister Valencia, she mentioned Orly McKenzie. And if we are talking about ancestry, if we are talking about searching, she teaches by example. And all of us, I think, on the line have heard of Bruce R. Watkins. And you've heard of the Bruce R. Watkins Cultural Heritage Center. And Aura Lee McKenzie is a part of that family, a part of that heritage, so she can teach while she partners with young people who are doing likewise for their own family research.
Oh, okay. Excellent. That's
Okay,
good, that's good.
the missing piece out of the Bruce R. Watkins family is their descendants from the Hughes farm that is part of the original Kansas City International Airport land.
Come on.
And they are descendants from Platte County. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Back to Valencia Brothers.
You guys are great. So the other, and thank you everyone. Thank you, Mr. Boyd. And I know that we've got a couple of guests that are, they're waiting to get in. So, we'll get them in soon. But what I wanted to also do, because again, on with Wave Your Grades, the big part of Mr. Boyd always, he'll remind us all, it's always about what are we doing as the young leaders in the community to show deep excellence with our academics, with our, I don't want to use the word behaviors. I instead want to say with our performances, our civic, all that type of stuff. What are we doing out here to, help the world be proud of us as young people and the people that are supporting young people? Because with our veterans, they're away, they're fighting for our freedoms, academic and all of that. So what are we doing here at home to at least show the appreciation? So I enjoy being able to be a part of Mr. Boyd's team in regards to being able to let our young leaders say the great things that they're doing. And also then, because financial literacy is a big part of what we been focused on heavily on the past few years, I wanted Mr. Ross, who has been a really awesome partner in the financial literacy coaching and action items and all that with our young people and others, to kind of help us today to talk a little bit about financial literacy and why it's important to veterans. So I'd like to start though by just having our three younger people to kind of say who you are. Brian, we're the older people. So Mr. Jeffrey, Ms. Paris, and Ms. Jamanda, talk a little bit about your career goals and what you're doing just in general right now to be the best version of yourself.
Okay, I'll go first.
Excellent.
So, how's everybody doing?
Hello.
Everybody.
Fantastic.
So, me right now, I'm studying in sociology. I'm looking to get my bachelor's in that. But after sociology, after getting my bachelor's, I'm looking to enroll into law school. And I've been looking at law schools now because right now I'm in Dallas, Texas. I was born and raised in KC, but you can only live in Kansas City for so long, in my opinion. So, and right now I go to Dallas College. It's a good JUCO school. And for my 4th year, I'm looking to go to UNT Dallas, which has a very good pre-law program. And so I'm studying sociology. In schools like SMU, that's really my top one school right now, close by, kind of affordable. And I think I'm pretty qualified for that school as of right now, but my hopes are too high. And yeah, that's me. That's what I'm doing.
No, thank you. I'm going to stop there for a second, but we want your hopes to be high because we want you to keep reaching for whatever it is that you want, and we're here to support you in that endeavor. And so, excellent. Ms. Jamanda, what you up to these days?
Hi, everyone. I am currently a upcoming business. I currently sell accessories for women's accessories, jewelry, sunglasses. Also have a few skin products. I'm also enrolling in school to take cybersecurity classes. So,
Wow.
yes.
Excellent. And she's looking to be a homeowner soon, y'all, too. So she's working on that stuff.
Yeah. Yes, that also, definitely.
Absolutely. Thank you. Thank you. We're going to come to everybody in a moment. And Miss Paris, hello. How are you?
Great morning, everybody. I'm okay. Sorry, my voice is a little under the weather. Had a crazy night with dealing with our current airport.
Yes.
But I'm pretty good. So as most of you guys who probably heard me before, I'm from Denver, Colorado. I'm definitely not a Chiefs fan. Gonna definitely always represent for my Broncos, regardless if they're winning or losing. Just gonna throw that out there. But you know, I am doing a lot. I'm working on my business as well. It's JH Success. I'm officially made sure I got my LLC. I registered. I do property management. I have my notary. Like Mr. Manda, I'm also working on my next steps to home ownership. So I see you there. I'm working with the HBCU college tour that will be coming back around. Because, you know, we got to push our Black schools. I'm very Black ownership. I believe we have a lot of knowledge and education there. We need to push it so people understand that we're more than enough. You know, I'm still helping with financial literacy. It's important for all of our children to know what's going on. I'm a substitute teacher. I'm an engineer by trade. So the new airport that they're working on, I did get the privilege to work on that actually. Yeah, I just kind of do stuff. So if you got questions for me, feel free to ask. And yeah.
Oh, awesome. Good, good. Mr. Brian, how are you? So now talk to us in general about who you are, and then I'm going to dive into a little bit of, and then we have we have another caller that did get in, but I don't see the name below it. Can you see that, Mr. Boyd, the name?
I can see it, but I don't see a name either. And Lucille Douglas, keep in mind, you're still a part of our conversation, so jump right in when you feel comfortable to do so.
You want. Great. Mr. Brian, hello. And then I'm going to ask the caller who joined us to say who they are because I can't see your name. Sorry about that.
Nor can I.
Hey, hello. Brian Ross. I'm a financial advisor with a local office here in Raytown, working with Edward Jones. My path here to where I sit is I started off in banking for a number of years, went through college, was a personal banker. So person who helped out as far as, credit cards and home equity loans, car loans. I was really heavily involved in the decision making on that. And just really over the last, 7 years, wanted to dive a lot more into the investing and the long-term planning that I felt like a little bit of my family was missing, but also wanted to educate myself more so as well too. So really as a financial advisor, I really strive to talk about not just the day-to-day planning, but also move to that generational planning is my big goal. So what kind of makes me put my shirt on every single morning is try to do a little bit that helps on that wealth gap that we see out there in America. May not be able to change it a lot, but if I can add a little bit of traction to keep the momentum going, I want to do my part to make that work. So just happy to be part of the program today.
Thank you.
Yay, thank you, thank you. And our new caller just joined us. Can you share? You just joined us, please.
It appears that your box is lit up, which ordinarily means that you are talking and there's not a mute sign in front of you, but we didn't hear what you said. Will you start over again, please?
My name is Glenn Moore, and I called in to listen in on your program today.
Oh.
Excellent. That's Deacon Moore. And you may remember, thank you, Deacon Moore. I wasn't sure. You may remember Mr. Boyd way back. Both of his grandchildren have been a part of, well, he has others, but two of his grandchildren have been a part of our program. And so, but Mr. Deacon Moore, he's a veteran. And so I asked him to check in and talk with us a little today regarding some of the things we're going to talk about financial literacy. Because again, this is a show about veterans and sharing information, and I'm getting our young people involved a little. So thank you again, Deacon Glenmore, for joining us. I'm going to jump right in. One of the things that we've been doing a lot of the past, 3 years for sure, of 2 heavier, is talking deeply about, how do we close the racial wealth gap in America? We know it's big, we know it's there, and there are 6 areas that we try very hard to assist all of our members. We have a Saturday call and just a network where we try hard to help each other to really make some things happen. And those 6 areas, kind of why maybe some of the young people also, the younger people mentioned, owning a home, having a profitable business, saving and investing, credit building, monitoring, managing, insurance coverages of all different types for your home, your business, etc., and life and all of that. And then the wills and trust, making sure that we're doing things so that, we can pass things on the way we want to, government won't take it, stuff like that. So today, when I knew we were going to come on, talk about financial literacy, and I wanted to talk about it from more of a veteran's standpoint, like what can we share with our veterans in regards to these areas? So I did some research and I talked with one of my friends. He does veteran benefits. We do a lot of that in Texas. I know we have a lady here also, Miss Bradley, who will also know some of these answers. And then, of course, Brian, because he is a financial advisor and all that, and works a lot with different people. That'd be a great conversation to dig into, because it's not only for, as we'll talk, our veterans, but our young leaders. Most of them, they know, of course, veterans, seniors, their family, everybody who can benefit from it. So what I found in doing my research about veterans and financial literacy is there's a big piece of when they're in the military, they have the option of getting education on financial literacy and management and all that type of good stuff, because they're there, they're making really good money and stuff. So sometimes they take it, sometimes they don't. But sometimes what happens though is then when they leave the military, they're not as informed on all the products and benefits that can assist them in doing those 6 things, really owning a home, whether it's purchasing, refinancing, lines of credit, all of that, having a profitable business. The SBA and the Veterans Administration, they were so closely together at doing the business loans, and the VA itself has lots of loan products. I only know because I've been researching. I'm not a vet, so I didn't know. Mr. Deacon Moore knows some of that, and like my dad, he's a vet, he knows some of that. But I didn't know all of this. Saving and investing, they have saving and investing products in the military, but sometimes if people aren't getting that information once they leave the military of, doing certain meetings and stuff, they don't know. Same with the credit building, insurance coverages, they lots of insurance while they're in the military. And then when they leave the military, they're all through research. So, but Mr. Deacon Moore, he'll be able to, here and there say, yeah, that's right, or you're not good. But able to, as they leave the military, able to either keep those policies that they have, or, once they leave, get something different. And Mr. Cooper, I think he may have been trying to get in, but he, at some point he may have not. But he does all of this for transitioning veterans in Austin. And so, and he was here for a long time in Kansas City. But he talked about, as a veteran himself, sometimes what happens is when you're in the military, everything is really kind of done for you. You're there, you're fighting. So they make sure that you have people who are managing, not just your money, but assisting with your family, making sure, for example, if you have to be deployed or something, he was sharing that you come in and they make sure that your spouse, paperwork is done, your savings accounts there. I mean, he would just share that everything is kind of done for you you know, so you don't have to worry about it. It's done in a way that makes sense. So then when you get out of the military, where everything was done for you, now if you don't have that proper coaching or people giving you the right packages of, okay, civilian life now, here you go. If you're not really been told to do all these things and talk about all these tools, so you're really kind of now out here, even like with jobs. A lot of our veterans, they have all these amazing skills that they learn while they're in the military. But then when they transition out, sometimes the employers, people out here, they don't know how to help the veterans transition well with the job market. So that's why we had a big problem with unemployed vets for a long time, the Afghanistan war and all that, probably before too, but just based on what I know, you know, that I saw myself. And so it got me to thinking, you know, in all this research, a lot of our veterans, they are homeless, they are not getting great medical care, they're not knowing how to take, you know, some of the products that are here to help themselves to live well, even if they're, you know, receiving good dollars, because as I was asking Mr. Cooper, so then what can we do? Like, I need financial literacy because I didn't know about investing in Roth IRAs or none of that. You know, I'm an entrepreneur. I was just making my money and living. I didn't know about all that stuff, about how to do it until I got into this club. So, and I'm 55. So you think about other younger veterans and stuff. And anyway, so how do we help those who have served our country to make sure that they're coming home and getting all the good information and coaching and accountability, you know, until they know it all themselves? So that's where I start. That's really where I was. But it's the same thing that our young people need. It's like, you know, they turn 18, whatever, go to college, and now they're out here and they're not sure how to really go get the house and do that. So,
Sister Broadus, what I would encourage for those of us who are civilians is Deacon Moore giving us insights on the veteran life. But let me say, even before that, I am a civilian and I am a member of the Veterans of Foreign Wars Auxiliary Post 8100 because my brother was a Marine who served in Korea. So, Sister Broadus, not only are we sometimes ignorant as veterans, if we are, of services available to us, sometimes we as family members don't know that some of those advantages can be enjoyed because you are a member of the family. But let me defer to Deacon Moore at this time.
absolutely. And Deacon Moore, share with us. I do know that you were hoping to be able to, you know, talk with Miss Bradley today, and but we're going to get you in touch with her in another way, and so she could be on with us this morning. But any thoughts that you have for especially young people wanting to even go into the military? Like, what should they be thinking about and doing, or anything you want to tell us?
Thank you, Ms. Broadus and Mr. Boyd. Really, I'm a member of the Vietnam era military. As Chief stated earlier, and especially in those days, there was literally no information given as far as financial literacy and things like that. It wasn't part of what the military institution was about. Like they're much better at today. I give them credit for that. First thing I say is, to any young person who's considering going into the military, with today's military apparatus and the way that military life is set up, the armed services are always a good place to start. For one thing, in any of the branches, you can get free training for the workforce in the civilian life. Costs you absolutely nothing. It's a great place to start.
Yeah.
Whatever kind of career it may be. If you are considering it, becoming a member of the military, I would say to you, think long term, especially if you don't plan to make it a career. Think long term and about what you want to do, be able to do with training after your military service time is up. So many of the skilled trades we have and things like that, those high-paying civilian employment jobs, you can actually get trained for right there in the military. Everything from airplane mechanics to electricians and all of those particular skills. They don't, well, at least I don't think, I haven't looked at it lately, I don't think they offer professional white-collar training in a lot of things. Except now, as I'm understanding, they are getting better at offering, I heard the young lady talk about it, cybersecurity training. They are, well, because of the times we live in, it's such a needful thing to the armed services. So they are looking at that, especially, I believe, like the Air Force and the Navy. So again, I just simply say it's a great place to start if you haven't decided what you want to do next step. If you do become a military person here with our country, if you become a hero, again, think about what you want to do after that time. It's always important. Yes, you will be serving your country. You will be doing a very needful thing, but unlike it has been in the past, also you can make it work for you. In the past, it wasn't quite like that.
Absolutely.
You joined or you got drafted, you did your time, went home. Well, now there is an opportunity to make the armed forces work for you. So if you were thinking about that kind of commitment, again, I can't say it enough or stress it strongly enough. Think also about your future. There's not many jobs out here for gun money. So that wouldn't work well for your future, just joining the infantry or something like that. But then there are those career trainings that they give that you can receive. And if you receive them there in any of the armed service branches, it is definitely certified by the U.S. Department of Labor. So you can bring that skill set right out into the labor force. Also remember, and it's always typically kind of been that way, employers, they give a little preference sometimes to honorably discharge veterans in the hiring process. So that would also work in your favor. The reason for that is because when an employer sees that you did serve in the armed forces, their first thought about you is you're disciplined. They don't have to wait for you to grow up.
Right.
You have shown, you have been taught, you have lived that disciplined lifestyle. So that's important to them, and that's a good thing. But again, a lot of things that are available to veterans, a lot of services, products that are available. During my time, they didn't make that information, make you aware of that information. And during my time, a lot of those services and products weren't even available. As time has gone on, Dr. Boyd, Congress has passed certain legislation, and in that legislation was something concerning veterans, especially once they came to a point of really understanding and seeing that not only veterans weren't being fully informed, but also the simple fact that, as she said a while ago, they found many times after the military life, veterans weren't receiving the type of things like good health care and things like that that they really supposed to have. So
I just have to jump in. Please,
please do.
forgive me for interrupting you, but
No, go ahead.
it is absolutely imperative that I show my appreciation for your humility and for your class. You said that you were in the military during the Vietnam era. There are young people on the line with us this day who could not have the appreciation for what you came home to, like those of us who are older understand. Your class and humility cannot be spoken of to the degree that it must. You must be thanked, because when you came home, it was not popular to be a veteran after Vietnam. And particularly being a veteran who was also an African American. And to say that we appreciate your service is an understatement. Let me leave it there for now, but I could go on and on about that. Please go ahead, Valencia Brothers.
Right. No, thank you. And I wanted to, I know Mr. Jeffrey had to, leave off with us. And what I wanted to ask Mr. Ross, just because I know he was traveling somewhere as well, because I think they've left from my screen, so I don't know who's still with us. So I'm sorry. But one of the big things that we have been experiencing in our financial literacy piece is, whether I want to buy a house or a business or whatever, that whole saving and investing thing. And in talking, with my dad, who's a veteran, and others, it's sometimes so he was saying, my dad, sometimes, they're living, they get their money in, they're spending, they're doing it, and they wish they had people from the VA or somewhere else who could talk with them a little bit more about not just the saving, because my dad taught me to save. So the saving is, I think, probably the easy part, especially for our elders, because saving, we're the ones who were bad savers as we got older, meaning us younger ones. But the investing part, as I've been telling my dad about, investing in different things, there were some of those things he didn't really know about, as far as like the IRAs and all that. But as a veteran, since we're not working, so you're not with a company with a 401k or any of that, are there any, tips that any of us could be thinking, how do we, because our veterans, they're getting, dollars of income, how do we help to spread the word about investment so their dollars can stretch longer?
And by the way, we have about 5 minutes.
Gotcha.
That's a quick hour, but please go ahead.
Can I
by the way, yes, go ahead.
No, I was just want to quickly say to our young people, I'm sure maybe many of you have heard of it or you're aware of it, but also another thing about military service, and it is widely accepted and practiced. When you become a veteran, they have what you've heard maybe called the GI Bill. And what the GI Bill simply is, they have a GI Bill for home loans. They have a GI Bill for small business loans. And what that simply is you're a veteran, honorably discharged. The U.S. government tells a lender of whatever kind, if you will loan this young lady this money, we will guarantee it will be paid back. So oftentimes financial institutions are very quick to look for veterans. So that is it's been a long-standing benefit, something you can look into if you're considering military service.
Yes, sir.
And learn about. Go ahead, Dr. Boyd.
Thank you.
Thank you. I want to, Brian, are you with us?
Yeah, and I'll be quick. Like I said, I know that time's coming up here. So, but I'll just say if there are any specific questions in regards to investing or saving, as I mentioned, Brian Ross, my office is out in Raytown, but a lot of times, especially when you're in the military, you have access to the Thrift Savings Plan, TSP. You guys may have heard about that. Government employees and also the military has office opportunity to invest in the TSP. But for those who are no longer in the military, you have access to what we call the traditional IRAs, or you have your 401ks through your job, which allow you to save and keep more your dollars to yourself, as opposed to the tax going to the IRS and having to pay taxes on those dollars. But as Valencia mentioned, the difference between savings, which is how I look at it as being something short-term emergency fund, but then when you start looking forward to investing, that's going to be 5 years or more. And just making sure that you're having a good idea about that long-term plan, kind of as was discussed before. You know, when you're in the military, what's your plan after the military, right?
Good
So
point.
that transition period can sometimes be difficult to some. On the financial side, if you do have a question, more than happy to have a dialogue. But there are some options, some education that can be done around that topic for sure. I would agree.
Contact information, please.
Yeah, if you do have any questions, it's 816-291-4508 is my office. Once again, 816-291-4508. And then my office is located in Raytown, Missouri. My name is once again Brian Ross with Edward Jones Investments, financial advisor with Edward Jones.
Thank you, thank you, thank you. And Sister Lucille Douglas, you were chatting your Banneker information again as well.
Yes, and I know we're about out of time, but let me tell you, as someone who was raised on our childhood was a benefit of a veteran disability payments. My father acquired diabetes during his military service in World War II. His college education allowed him to go to officer candidate school. And so he left the Army with the rank of first lieutenant. And so our childhood was made better with the supplement of a disability income from the Department of Defense.
Amen.
Thank you very much. Go ahead, Sister Broadus, please.
Right. No, thank you. 'Cause I was going to ask you if you were a veteran, because I could tell things I was saying, Ms. Lucille. You knew what I was saying. I'm like, oh, she's a veteran. So I was going to ask you later. But no, thank you. Thank you. I know we're wrapping up, so just want to definitely say we want to continue the conversation. And if I started by kind of sounding like I was saying our veterans just didn't know, I wasn't trying to do it that way. So I just wanted to make sure I say that. I was more of, as I was researching and learning, it's like, how can we help make sure that our veterans that are here, that they're getting more and more and more out of their benefits and their service. So I just want to make sure that I say it that way, because if I sounded different, I do apologize for that. Because there's so much for learning. It's like, how do we help get more? Because like, Mr. Bryan said, and then of course, Mr. Deacon Moore said, there's all these programs. And my dad, for example, he doesn't know about a lot of it. So I'm learning, so I can tell him, so he can keep on, enjoying his life. And so I just want to say thank you. And thank you for our young leaders, because y'all know veterans too. Y'all know people.
So thank you very, very much. And by the way, apology not necessary. Rebecca Bradley will tell you, and she's head of National Association for Black Veterans, and she was coordinator for the state of Missouri in minority affairs. And she would tell you, Valencia Broadus, you're absolutely right. There's a lot that our veterans do not know. And to have a Deacon Moore, we want to do a full show with him sometime to talk about things he is teaching us now. And thank you, Valencia Broadus, for today's program. Thank you, Lucille Douglas. And Valencia, I know you want to thank your guests as well.
Yeah, I do. I thank them. And Mr. Boyd, do you have a number for Miss Rebecca Bradley, or you can send it to me later? Deacon Moore wanted me to see if I could connect him so we could learn more. So if that's something that's possible, so even if later connect us to her.
I will get that to you because I'm remembering 816-419-6825. And I want to make sure
Okay.
that the memory is correct, but I think you can trust 816-419-6825.
Amen. Okay.
Let
No,
us-
and we'll do that.
And also Miss Lucille's contact.
And Miss Lucille's contact. That's what Dr. Moore said.
You
Yes.
you can reach out to me at Banneker School, parkvillemissouri.org, on our website or our Facebook page, or Lucille Douglas, LucilleDouglass @gmail.com. I don't know if I put that in the chat, will that help with anything, Mr. Boyd?
It won't hurt because I saw it when you put it up before, so that's just fine. And we are at 2:01 p.m. Brother Walker, you can let us know if we're still on because I do want to do my word for the day. And if that is permissible. Thank you to everyone. Wow, such a good program, informative program. My name is Carl Boyd. It is Wave Your Grades. And as I do 366 days a year, including weekends, to students across the USA, your Stoots for Boots message for this day, November 5th. This is the month to honor veterans, but try to name a month that is not. Please honor November, but always remember, students owe them the best that you've got. My name is Carl Boyd. Thank you to all of our guests this afternoon. Gracious God and wonderful Wanda, I'm on my way home.
Have a great day, everybody. Thank you. Bye-bye, Mr.
Thank
Boyd.
you.
Bye-bye, Mr. Steele.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you, Mr. Ross.